Welcome friends to another watercolor tutorial. I'm kind of debating what we're going to be painting today, which I recognize I kind of should have figured that out before hitting record, but start with your piece of paper in landscape position. I have taped the borders of mine so that there's a nice clean and crisp edge, and also it prevents your paper from buckling because the water doesn't go onto the ridges and kind of, buckle. Or at least I found that this prevents it. And then you're going to take water. I like to tint mine in whatever color I'm going to be using because it helps me see what I have painted and what I have not. And because this is going to be a blue painting, I've taken just a smidge of blue and I'm applying that onto my paper, creating a nice wash to start painting from. Now, I recognize I've already made a mistake. I should have left a strip of unpainted material, but what I'm going to do, I just took toilet paper and I'm just gonna go across like that, and you can even see a light. There we go. I'm happy with that. It's obviously not completely dry in those areas, but it will help our cause. So you want to work fairly quickly here, especially if you don't have cotton paper, because it's going to dry quickly, obviously. So take whatever blue that you have. You can always add black. And I'm gonna flick upwards. So here we're creating kind of an illusion of pine trees. And I'm doing it on both sides because it's gonna be a reflection. And I'm trying to be mindful of that white gap in the center. I know right now it looks kind of not great, but that is okay. It's only the first layer. And you can add more if you'd like. I'm tapering them off towards the edges a little bit. Whoops. This was going to be a totally different painting, but I just did two pretty complicated not complicated, but time-consuming paintings, and I just wanted something quick and easy. So this sort of fits the bill. I'm just going to try and lift off that smudge there. Okay, we're getting somewhere here. So I'm gonna add a little bit of black to my blue and start layering on slightly darker wisps to add contrast, add different blues and whatnot. We just want a rough background here of blue. Like, it doesn't have to be super detailed. Don't get too hung up on the details because we're going to be painting over it regardless. So I think I'm just going to leave this. I'm gonna leave this the way that it is. I'll let this dry and then we're gonna come back to it and continue what we were doing. Okay, I didn't actually let this dry. We're probably still going to let it dry, but I want to try something first. I switched to my quadruple zero here, and the background is still wet, but I do want to start painting on some details. And if you use a small brush that is highly pigmented, so it doesn't have a lot of water on it, you can still paint on more detailed trees without them fading into the background like our first layer did. So you can still see a pattern of a pine tree there, which is really nice. So I'm gonna just keep doing that for as long as this will allow me. I don't like that blue though. I'm going to see if I can mix it with a little bit of black. Very frosty look. I was going to paint mushrooms. That was going to be my original intention, but the mushroom paintings are extremely time consuming. And I know because I've painted at least 3 mushroom paintings in the past. And one of them, like one of my landscape mushroom tutorials where I really went all out with it, that was, I think, over an hour long, and I don't have an hour. I have 30 minutes because I have to feed my baby in 30 minutes, and then we're going somewhere. So I'm just trying to knock one out here. I was hoping that this would be a super quick one, and we're already at 7 minutes, so I don't think it's going to be as quick as I initially intended it to be, but we'll see where time takes us. This also isn't looking exactly how I had envisioned. I wanted, and maybe it's because I'm using blue, I think I might add some green into there, because I really, when I've done tutorials like this before with blue and green, and it really looks quite magical together. And because this is going to be released in January, it's going to be very close to Christmas. So next year, when people are kind of Googling tutorials for Christmas, this one should come up and should come up in the algorithms and during Christmas time. And the pine tree painting technique, like I don't really go over that anymore in my landscape tutorials because I have so many tutorials on pine trees. But this one is very simple. I just kind of draw a vertical line, and then I make these very wide U shapes that lengthen as they move down the line that I drew. So, yeah. I just developed quite a headache out of nowhere. And it's a pressure headache. I don't know why I keep getting these pressure headaches recently. Let's see. So maybe a couple more here. And then we'll maybe add some green into that. Oh my gosh, I am sorry if that was not even on the screen. I do that so much, unfortunately, because I don't really look at the screen when I'm painting. I'm looking at my painting. Okay, so I'm gonna add some green in here just for some festive fun. And it's a lot more dry now, so I don't have to be as meticulous about my brush strokes or the amount of pigment I have on my brush. Okay. And you don't even have to be totally detailed with every single tree, like especially if your paper is still wet, you can just have these brush strokes that extend upwards and then they kind of spread out a tiny bit as you do that. I'm just going to flip that and do something similar on the other side. So this year I am doing a lot of baking as gifts, home baking, because who doesn't love home baked goods? And I really enjoy baking. And we went to the Dollar Tree, or I went to the Dollar Tree, and they have these adorable Christmas tins right now, and they're beautiful, like little cookie tins, round ones, rectangular ones, ones with bows, like everything you can possibly want. And they're such good prices, like $1.50 Canadian. And so I stocked up on way more than I will ever need, because I kind of just want to keep them for myself. That's how nice they look. I do not like how this is turning out. It just looks really amateur. What can we do to make this a little nicer? Maybe, okay, I'm gonna wet my paintbrush. I took a slightly bigger brush. I just wet it, and I have to be careful that I'm not gonna smudge this too much, but I am just extending some of that color upwards. And sort of blending some things together here. And then maybe the bottom could be blended as well. Blended outwards, that is. Not really what I was intending. I'm just trying to make this, I don't know, it's too liney. If you kind of get what I'm getting at here. I think I need to just go outside. I need to go outside and get some fresh air, because I'm starting to get this headache is really starting to pound. I'm just blending some of these together so it doesn't look so sticky, stick-like. But anyways, I'm gonna let this dry, and then I want to add some, or maybe before it dries, sorry, I've said that a few times, but I'm gonna add what do you call it? If this is the bottom, because that's the reflection, then I'm gonna add little ripples or whatnot in the water. Sort of like this. I don't like that color of blue though. It's not a very... Should have added black to it. Holy moly, this headache just came out of nowhere and it is really increasing in intensity. I really don't like how this is turning out. Okay, now I have to somehow rectify this. Fix it. Because this is not what I had in mind. I'm just spreading it out with water, basically. Trying to blend it back into the background. Like that. Okay, I'm gonna really let this dry and then we'll add some more details that will maybe make this a little bit better. Okay, so this should be dry. I'm gonna go, I have my quadruple zero here and I just want to add very thin lines. This is kind of what I wanted to originally go for before I ruined it. So that doesn't look too bad. Now the other thing, oh my gosh, pay attention, Julia. I just put my phone in acrylic paint. So I am going to take some acrylic paint. I just want to add some white to those reflections or ripples, whatever they are. And I'm going to add ripples or these white accents in the reflections as well of like the second half of the painting. You can barely see it, but I don't know, maybe it'll spruce it up a little bit. And the other thing I want to do is make it snow, because this is a winter tutorial. So we are going to make it snow. I always have to close my eyes when I do this because the paint kind of goes, splashes up into my eyes. So I've taken white acrylic paint, I've watered it down a tad, and then I'm tapping another brush against the brush with the acrylic paint onto the paper, and it obviously creates this effect. Mind you, I'm not a fan, and it's probably because this is not fully dry, but those splats are a little bit too big for my liking. So I am going to add some manually as well. What else could we do to spruce this up? Because it's not, it's supposed to be a quick tutorial, but what are we gonna do? I mean, we can always add deciduous branches in the front. That always makes things look really nice. So I'm gonna do that. I'm taking black and brown, mixing those two together to create a gorgeous dark brown. And then I'm gonna just paint on some branches. Maybe you have one that comes out of the left side and disappears in the corner. another one. Maybe coming from this corner and extending like this. Maybe have another one like coming like this way. I don't want to overdo it with the, because we just want to add like a little bit of extra detail, but I don't want to crowd the painting. Okay, I don't think that's too bad. So one more thing I'm gonna do, I know I keep adding things and saying one more, but I'm taking that white acrylic paint. I need fresh acrylic paint because this, oh my gosh, if you guys saw what I just did, there is a lot of acrylic paint on my phone right now. And you know what I'm doing? I'm using that acrylic paint to dip my paintbrush into. But I just want to apply some snow on top of the deciduous branches, just to give a more wintry look to the painting. And I think I have to switch to, I do not advise using watercolor brushes with acrylic paint using watercolor brushes, because you really ruin your brushes that way. Okay, I think I'm just gonna call it quits. I think we have done enough for this painting, or with this painting. Okay, sorry, maybe just a few more snowflakes, because the other one sort of faded. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so I'm just gonna peel the tape off so that we have clean borders. And you know, it's not too bad. It didn't turn out that bad in the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next tutorial.